They've never seen the river come up that fast before, so they were trying to stay ahead of the game. It was just unbelievable how fast it was coming up. So they were trying to stay ahead of the game, and at that time, they don't really know, exactly where all the rainfall. It fell right in the water, our waterway, and not in our watershed. But if we'd have had this much water throughout our watershed, we probably would have, probably not went quite that high, but we would have had some really.
What's our watershed?
That's every thing that feeds into the.
So the surrounding towns to the
Right,
north of
any
us.
north of us
Between the
and
hills.
east, west, whatever that falls into our waterway. It
Okay.
basically, we got this rain dropped right in our waterway instead of our watershed. And that's, and it was coming up so fast, and at the
Well,
time they
it's true
make
that
those.
we don't have any gauges around here too, though, isn't it?
No, we have gauges.
Where's our
There's
gauge?
not a lot of them.
Our gauge?
Yeah, there's.
Tripola is,
We use Tripola, right? We use Fairbank. We ask those people to. We can use Fairbank. We use Tripola. It's got an actual water gauge, and we've got an actual water gauge here. But they're watching these water gauges and how fast they're coming up.
okay.
So it was off a lot, but don't blame your local people because that's not who makes these predictions. And all we can do is go by what national weather tells us, and when they say this is what it's going to be, that's the information we have to put out there. We can't, get together and say, well, I think it's going to do this, and then we're liable for, telling
Right.
somebody it was going
Right.
to do that. But I agree with you, it was way off, but it's unbelievable how fast that came up. It really is. They've never seen any that come that fast before.
See, I didn't think we had any close gauges. I didn't know we had one in Independence.
It's right down by.
Yeah,
I
but
knew
it's right here in Independence.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
And that's what we're watching. That's what we watch, is how fast that's coming up too.
Right. Well, Randy decided, my husband decided that you guys, or the news media, needs to just talk to him about whether there's gonna be a flood or not. Yeah.
Could he be our second gauge?
Well, we do, and when we're actually getting it, this time was pretty hard, but we use people up the river, along the river that, they keep an eye on it, they tell us what it's doing, so we
Right.
kind of know what's going on, but this time we didn't really know because it was just coming so fast, it just unbelievable.
Well, it must have just came fast and spread out instead of coming straight down the river because
Well, there wasn't that much water
there to
there
come.
to come this
Yeah.
way, so that's how it got off, but it is actually the national people that predict this, so that's all we can go by, and that's the information we have to put out there,
Okay.
so
I just wanted clarified for everybody because,
yeah, we do not make those predictions. We sit down and amongst ourselves and talk about what we actually think it's gonna do, but, I'd hate to put that information out there and be wrong, so.
yeah, that's true.
Were you closer?
Oh, much closer.
Yeah. That guy with the stick in Littleton, he was pretty close.
That's all I have.
Okay. Barbara?
Back from vacation from last week, so there's been some deaths in the employee family. So Carmen is off this week until Thursday. So Vicki and I are trying to play catch up. So we'll bear with us. We've got our accounts payable to run tomorrow, and she's working on payroll this week, and we have council proceedings and things to do. So hopefully things will continue smoothly and timely.
All right, thank you. Jenny?
Yeah, I've been looking over these figures that Mr. Usher gave us for this heating system. And I think $589,000 is a lot of money for an AC and a heater. And I was just wondering if we couldn't have a task force put together some realistic figures and come back with us in about 2 weeks. I don't think I would set the project behind one day probably, and analyze this a little better and see if, make sure we're getting the biggest bang for the buck. It just seems like an awful lot of money to me.
Steve, what's our timeline?
We're moving full steam ahead. I mean, we're at,
We haven't accepted any bids yet, have we?
no, but Ushers has put out the information for securing the equipment, because we have to have it on site and installed by September 16th. And so we're looking at some very creative ways of trying to get that accomplished, and putting the equipment out for bid, then putting out the installation out for bid to get the contractor who's gonna install it. And we're just on such a tight timeline. I mean, I don't think that would, it's gonna be difficult for us to get the heating and all that stuff done at this point.
So how's the bids gonna be let out? Don't they have to be approved by the city council?
That's what we did at the last council meeting.
We approved taking bids, didn't we?
Yeah, and so they're gonna come in,
Accepting bids, but we didn't give anybody a bid.
right. Well,
What if
we'll
somebody
approve.
bids $2 or $3 million, we just gonna give it to them?
I hope not.
Yeah, I do too, so is most of the public. And most of the public that I've talked to about this are pretty upset about $589,000.
Yeah, and of course, that's the worst case scenario, so we're hoping not to have a worst case scenario, but in this old building, there's so many unknowns and whatnot that you have to try and plan in for that, so.
Well, I guess to answer your question, Denny, if we're that tight on the line, I guess I can't do a task force for a couple of weeks, because I guess I guess we just couldn't do it if we were under that umbrella to be on site, and this affects our grant also, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Right, but I mean, if the bids come in so terribly bad, I mean, we can choose to say, no, we're not gonna do this, and, and turn away a potential grant money we had, and look at something else, but, I mean, we're gonna have to be looking really fast, cause it's gonna be September, October before we know it, and we'll have to stockpile on the space heaters, I guess. But,
So it's a wood burner, I guess.
probably wouldn't be able to put a wood burner in.
Okay, well, thank you though, Denny. I guess when the bids do come in, we take a good, strong, hard look, as always. And, like Steve said, doesn't mean we have to take them. But we need to do something, there's no doubt about that. Anything else, Denny?
No.
Okay, Nina?
I'm gonna do it on a happy note. I wanna thank all the volunteers that did help for our Independence Day celebration. We had a lot of people out doing a lot of good things, between fireworks, parade, and even the celebration for Richard Shillinglaw, that the community band and stuff last night. And we really put on an awesome thing in this town. I think we should be very proud of it and thank all the people involved. I enjoyed it tremendously. I also am wearing my billboard again today